The Kahnawà Survival School celebrates its 40th graduation class on Thursday, June 21st. And KTV asks what it means to have our own Indigenous high school 40 years later.
Well, I think survival school was always a dream. To have a high school in Kahnawà was always something that parents wanted and wished for. The dream became a reality when Quebec decided that we were to have our eligibility papers. There were parents, one of which was my mother, who said, no, we're not going to be treated as immigrants. And a group of this group of parents decided that if we have to have these papers, that we wouldn't start school. We wouldn't have a high school to go to in September, and it was basically overnight that they put together the survival school when Howard S. Billings refused our students. They refused our students unless they had those eligibility papers.
It has been an immense impact. I've been, as director for a few years now. What I've seen is traveling and going to different places, such as First Nations education, and dealing with some of the struggles that other communities are facing. I could see, that everyone is striving for what we have here. Everyone is striving to say and is so impressed with the fact that Kahnawà has our own high school, number one, and that we control and we oversee and determine what it is that we want to teach, what's important, while maintaining high standards. So for as a community, it was, as everyone knows, it was our fight initially to, have that right to self-determination, and it continues to be that, where we can provide. It shows everyone that we have the capacity, the ability, just like everyone else, to ensure that our students have sound, exciting, and innovative curriculum, and we can do that, and we have been doing that in the past 40 years. So I'd have to say that, for us, for Kahnawà education, we're going to continue to do that. We're striving, and there's so many great things coming out of education. And fortunately, right now, we've been getting the funding that it's helping us support and deliver this type of programs in our high school.
The difference was being at an outside school was more like you had to be on top of things and always stress to get stuff done right away. Well, here too you need to do the same, but it's different. Like, the teachers care about you and they encourage you to push to do your work, other than at the outside schools. It's a better environment here than it is at outside school.
When I joined survival school in 1983, I was just coming to do a job as a teacher. And as an immigrant who left his hometown in Alexandria, Egypt, and coming to Canada, and I'm missing my family, it was my newfound family. And 34 years later, I'm still family with my family, seeing students that I've taught earlier, they are coming back as parents, and I'm teaching their children, and I've actually had a third generation.
My grandfather, Stuart Phillips, he was a teacher here 30-something years ago, and he taught ironworking and welding to the students. And for me, I'm pretty proud of that he was a teacher here.
There was a threat, and it goes back to Project Archipel. There was talks that Quebec wanted to build this hydroelectric dam, and the area that they were looking at was where Survival School is now. And that was one of the plans. If we put our survival school there, they would have to think twice about flooding this area. I guess it's our sovereignty. We are able to decide what our kids are going to learn, what's important to us, not somebody else telling us this is what you have to teach. We decide on what's relevant and what our kids should be learning. And I think that's the biggest importance of having our own high school.
Kahnawà Survival School is incredibly unique in the sense of the care. When you walk into the school, the environment that you get. You don't get a teacher-student environment. You don't get a top-heavy school. You get a school that's the principal, the vice principal, the students. Everybody's living together. It's a way of living, and we care about each other. I can tell you stories and stories and stories about students and how they come in and they ask our opinions. They ask, and I ask their opinions as well. It's amazing what these students can teach you. It's not your everyday regular school. It's a school that, I was so lucky to be able to teach at it.
I feel pretty amazing because the school has been through so much, and coming here, I was so shy, and throughout the years, I broke out my expression of being shy, and I feel really happy to be here.
I do know of teachers that have seen students suffering for whatever reason, and they made sure and certain that this student is well taken care of. I've seen students that needed jobs, and teachers went and spoke on their behalf and got them jobs because they needed it for income. I have seen students sitting together, and the money is flying because this one doesn't have money to pay lunch, and generosity is unbelievable. And this student doesn't have money to eat tomorrow, yet he'll take money out of his pocket or her pocket and give it so his friend will eat. These are just little things that we'd notice and you'd see, and you'd never see elsewhere. Elsewhere, sometimes you'll see somebody putting their hand in somebody else's pocket. Here, it's the opposite. It's the care and the attention that they give to each other.
I think it's very important because I think the school is the first well-known Native school to actually be made in a way, and so many students came out of here with feeling happy to be here.
Just the story of how overnight the school was started in basements and in houses, in in the halls, in the Moose Club, the Knights of Columbus, the Legion. It was like a whole community effort to get this school up and running, and there was so many people that came together. They volunteered. It showed our strength, I think, as who we are. We had a crisis and we came together once more and showed our strength.
I've spent a lifetime at it. It's one of the best schools I've ever been at. It's a lifeline. It's not a school, it's a family.